Get attitude means, how can I proactively change the way I think? How can I proactively increase my life? How can I proactively create better relationships and better work situations for me to enjoy it?
And welcome to the GAP, the Get Attitude Podcast, The Gap, bridging the gap from who you are to who you want to become. Hello, everybody. My name is Glenn Bill, founder of the University of Attitude, keynote speaker, and author of the book, The ABCs of Attitude. And I've been fortunate to help tens of thousands of people across this great country of ours get attitude. Attitude, the secret formula for success in your business and in your personal life. And this podcast will help you get yours. So let's get some. And welcome, welcome, welcome. We have done it. We have done it. We have made it through all 10 attitude boosters, and we are getting ready to tee up attitude booster number 10, be a part of something bigger than yourself. And let me tell you, Gappers, we have 4 unbelievable episodes coming up for you, and it will help you hear from people that have accomplished greatness, from people that have done things that you've never dreamed of. Our 4 guests this month, this might be the most powerful month that we've ever had on the Gap. We are so fortunate to have Mr. Sean Parnell. Sean was a United States Army Ranger. He is an author that wrote the book Outlaw Platoon. He's also written several other fiction-based books on his experience when he went over to Afghanistan and the personal stories that he tells about serving our country and being a part of something bigger than himself with the men that he fought with growing up in Pennsylvania. Actually, Sean, when we launched this episode, we did this a few months ago with Sean, but Sean is running for the United States House against Connor Lamb in Pennsylvania. And if you are listening to this, my guess is it is either just before or just after the election. And we're going to try to get this podcast on before the election because we'd love to see Sean make it there. But when we interviewed Sean, he wasn't near as big and as blowing up as he is now. But his memories of what went on in Afghanistan are chilling. His ability to write book and share stories of his experience in Afghanistan are so amazing, and his books are fantastic. Outlaw Platoon is his first. I think Man of War was his second. So you do not want to miss a true American hero, Sean Parnell, coming on to talk about Attitude Booster number 10, being a part of something bigger than yourself. I want to thank all of our veterans. Anybody, if you are listening to this and you are a veteran, thank you for putting yourself in front of the country, putting yourself in harm's way, for serving the needs of all of our citizenry, and giving me the chance to have a voice and to create this thing called the Get Attitude Podcast to help people bridge the gap from who they are to who they want to become and help them get from where they are to where they want to go. Our next guest after Sean Parnell is somebody that has a unique experience in the National Football League. This gentleman actually played football for me. I coached him in high school. He was Indiana's Mr. Football, went on to play football at Boston College, and after his stint there, found himself amongst a player personnel and scouting position with this franchise called, well, the New England Patriots. And DuJuan Daniels will be our guest in week number 2. DuJuan from Indianapolis, currently now with the Las Vegas Raiders as the assistant player personnel director, is going to talk to us about the 15 years he spent with New England, what it's like transitioning with Coach Gruden and the Las Vegas Raiders. He's going to give us some insight to some of those legendary players on the New England Patriots team, and he is going to talk about his experience being a part of Coach Belichick's army, if you will, his philosophy, and the way that they approach their business. And the New England Patriots organization certainly had the mantra that we must all do something and be a part of something bigger than ourselves, and we must all do our job in order to create the success for the group, the success for the group tying back to the success of an individual just simply doing his job. Our third guest is a heroine in America. You talk about a gal with more spirit and more spunk, probably the highest level of energy, more spirit and more spunk than anyone that we've interviewed, and her name is Louis Thaxton. She is, we call her Wheezy. She is a top producing loan originator at Fairway Mortgage, but she is also the leader of this thing called the American Warrior Initiative. And when you talk about being a part of something bigger than you, Louise has dedicated her life to helping the heroes of our country obtain new homes, mortgage-free homes through this thing called the American Warrior Initiative. You will have a chance to help Louise and help our veterans own a mortgage-free home as she does this. But she will also talk to you in a business sense about how to make every customer your hero. You know, she says that every customer she has is a hero because she deals with the veterans, but a real business piece of advice is about how to make everybody that you come in contact with a true hero in their whole experience with you. And her interview is just so good because she really brings out the heart, the soul, the care, the empathy, the internal struggles, and the relationship challenges of our veterans, and the reason that she loves them so much, how she has developed this thing called the American Warrior Initiative, and Red Friday, Remember Everyone Deployed. This interview is just absolutely fantastic. And then our very final episode of season number 1 is going to be with the world's most prolific, most pronounced, and most sought-after motivational speaker in the world. He's a mentor to mine. He's a friend of mine. And that is the incomparable Les Brown. Now, if you've never met Les Brown, and if you know him and you've never met him or listened to him, this is an interview that I don't think Les has ever given one like this. I think this is truly unique. Les is an unbelievable giver to the world. Les has millions of followers. If you see Les get on Facebook Live, he'll have 1,000 people check in right now. Like, all the guy does is come up. And Les is truly considered to be one of the greatest motivational speakers of our lifetime. And it was an honor to interview him. As you know, we've done these things called the 846 interviews, intermittent, throughout our podcast. And we actually did a little bit of an 846 interview to open with Les. Les talking about his childhood and what it was like being an African American back in the 40s and 50s when he was born and growing up, his racial experience and his race story, which is captivating. He touches on being married to the wonderful Gladys Knight of Gladys Knight and the Pips, leaving on the midnight train to Georgia. We got some really, really great. He was a historic DJ in Detroit, and he shares some personal stories about some of the most famous people in Motown that there ever was. And you are going to love our final interview with the great Les Brown. So we are so honored to bring you our final booster and our final month, our final 4 interviews for the Get Attitude podcast, focusing on booster number 10, be a part of something bigger than you. And I know that you are going to enjoy these, and this is a month you don't want to miss. I want to thank all of you who have tuned in all year, who hit on every single podcast, who subscribe, who share, and tell people, get on this podcast. It will change your attitude. And you rate me on our podcast platforms. We are on all podcast platforms. We are actually looking to expand possibly our platform and our show to different audio and video streaming services. We are going to be everywhere when we do season number 2. Season number 2 is going to focus on innovators and influencers, and we're going to have season 2 be a 36 podcast show season, and we are going to be getting 36 influencers and innovators that will help you continue to bridge the gap, that will help you get from where you are to where you want to be. These are leaders, thought provokers, people that think differently, people that when you hear their interviews, you're going to be able to think about your life, your strategy, your accomplishments, and everything differently. And I'm so excited for season number 2. And I want to thank Jason Jolliffe and Studio J for a successful production of season number 1 with all 10 attitude boosters. It was a haul, Jason, was it not?
It was good. It was a good run. Good run. And I'm excited for season 2. We're talking about some of the ideas beforehand, and it's going to be great.
Yeah, so we had 40 shows, plus we had 2 846 interviews, plus 10. That's about 52. I think we did 52 shows in season 1. Yeah. It's a handful. So if you are thinking about hosting your own podcast, if you are a corporation that's been listening to this, I'm telling you, Jason Jolliffe is the guy that you want behind the scenes producing content for you. We're just thrilled that he did everything he did. So thank you, Jason, for season 1.
Thank you. It's been great.
And Jason was a part of something bigger than him when he said, yeah, Glenn, let's do this crazy thing called the Get Attitude podcast. Just 4 quick points that I want to talk about briefly as we get into Attitude Booster 10 for you to be thinking about. Am I doing enough? Am I truly just centered on me, the individual? We know science has told us that if you are involved in something bigger than you, you are happier, you are healthier. Your energy and vitality that we talked about all last month in Booster number 9, it increases. There's a reason that the greatest people, the greatest influencers and innovators, which we're going to talk about in season 2, understand this idea of stepping outside of yourself and helping others. If you just want to basically be a happier person, you know what it comes down to? It comes down to helping everybody else. And if you want to accomplish more, if you want to elevate yourself, your status, your celebrity, your income, your productivity, your influence, your ability to innovate, trust me, the more people you help, the ability to be a part of something bigger than yourself, it is going to help you accomplish more. And then the last thing is resilience. You know, if we're just doing things for ourselves, sometimes when things get tough, when downturns occur, when challenges arise, when unknown karma hits you upside your head, your resilience can fade. And we know that if you are with a team and if you're with people that care about you and that you're trying to do something more, that your resilience, and boy, let me tell you something, after 2020, we're getting ready to leave one of the worst years ever. Thank God we had the Get Attitude podcast this year. That your resilience, your ability to bounce back, your ability to create the mindfulness, the strength that it takes to move on in bad times. Well, I'm just telling you, Attitude Booster number 10 is going to help you with that. You will always be more resilient with that. So we are going to be talking with these great guests about the 4 levels of doing something greater than yourself. Number 1, the individual level, which we probably won't talk a lot about because that's not the point of the show. But when we look at family, and certainly I know that Sean talks a lot about family in his podcast, how are you serving your family? Are you truly a part of something bigger than you? You know, I always love to say it's only your family that's going to be there when you die. You meet a lot of people along the way in life, but and some of us don't even know our family. But when we die, that family member that you hardly even knew, they're there. And so I think it's a great opportunity for us to look at who is my family, how am I interacting with my family, am I contributing to my family, am I helping my family? Some of us, like me, are from very large families, and you don't get to know all your family. But certainly that unit, that next level unit is big. And then obviously outside your family comes your community. And when we talk about creating value, whether you're in business or in as a person, there's this thing and these questions that we need to ask is, how am I affecting my community? And not just our own physical community inside of a city, right? It may be the whole community, like the American Warrior Initiative, where Louis Thaxton talks about it. So Louise and DuJuan even talking about the New England Patriots, right? Great examples of people that step outside of family that have a bigger purpose. Now, Sean Parnell and Louise work together on the American Warrior Initiative, and obviously Sean running for the House of Representatives is somebody that is at that community level. But Attitude Booster number 10 is going to give us that opportunity to reflect and to look at ourselves saying, is something bigger than me? How am I affected with the people that have my blood and my DNA? And then we look at this community, and Louise is going to really, I think, open your heart, open your mind on what could you do for your community. And when we talk about this thing of value, building your business, you need to be an influencer and an innovator in your community. And are you doing that now? Does the community see you as a resource, right? What are you doing to be a resource for your community? How active are you in it? Some people say, I don't want to be a part of it, Glenn. That's fine. I'm not saying that you do. But if you want to increase your leverage, if you want to increase your life, if you want to increase your bank account, if you want to increase your relationships, I'm just telling you this, it's going to start with you being involved in something in the community. And it could be as small as a sports team, or it could be as big as a city council seat, whatever that might be. But do you have a strategy for community sacrifice? Do you have a strategy to be a part of something bigger than just you when it comes to community involvement? And then, of course, the highest level of being a part of something bigger than you gets into this thing called religion, right? And I'm not here to preach about religion. I'm not here to preach about what religion's the best or is better or preferred or whatever. The point is, if you're in a good Bible-based church, that will certainly help you. We get into this thing called spirituality. We get into these things called values. And when we talk about being a part of something bigger than yourself, are you a person of faith? Do you believe in the faith community? Do you believe in good versus evil? Do you believe in a higher power? If we have atheists in the group, that's cool. I'm all good with people that don't believe there is a higher power. But certainly believing and having an atheistic mindset creates other interesting attitude, leverage points and thoughts. Maybe I need to get an atheist on here, Jason. What do you think about that?
Sure.
I think it would be good. So when we talk about religion and spirituality, I will tell you that our final guest, Mr. Les Brown, very, very religious, very faith-filled. You will hear many spiritual messages, many spiritual quotes in the interview that we did with Les. And Les will take you to a higher level. Les takes everybody to a higher level. And he certainly has a godlike presence. His energy is unmatched. His spirituality and his concern for others is something that I admire and something that I think gave us one of our best podcast interviews of the year. So I hope that you all join us for the final 4 podcasts for the Get Attitude podcast, focusing on be a part of something bigger than you. The Get Attitude podcast and the University of Attitude is not about me. It is about you. It's about helping us create a world that is better. And it's about helping us change the world for the better, one attitude at a time. That's what we set out to do. I want to thank you for the past 9 months. I want to thank you for the upcoming month as we finish up Attitude Booster number 10 with 4 unreal guests. And I look forward to engaging with you next month over these 4 episodes. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and review. Please share this podcast. I'm telling you, these 4 interviews are the best 4 probably of the year. We've had some unreal interviews, but these powerful, powerful, powerful. And I hope that all of you will continue to subscribe, rate and review and share this. So when we kick off season 2, it'll be better than anything that's ever seen. We're going to outdo season 1. We're going to have some changes. We're going to talk about that. And again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of the Get Attitude podcast. Thank you, Studio J and Jason, for producing this. And here we go. Attitude Booster number 10. Be a part of something bigger than you. This is Glenn Bill from the Get Attitude podcast studios. And we will be seeing you for season 2 and staying in touch with you for the final month of season number 1.